Not all is shine sprites and rainbow roads in the world of Nintendo games. I mean, look at that shit. Rated E my ASS. Nintendo loves to surprise us, and sometimes that means scaring the boo-Jesus out of us with some super disturbing shit. And as players, we must summon our Triforce of Courage and vanquish those virtual fears. And as with the previous list, this is not exactly a list of the scariest moments, but a list of scary/horror-themed moments that I happen to find really dope.
It's not a name!
Specifically Nintendo moments. For I am NintenDopeman, and these are the dopest scary Nintendo things.
Well, that's the name!
Oh no, it is not!
Kicking off with one that feels almost like an urban legend. Kind of like L is Real or Trucker Mew. In Super Mario Galaxy 2 is a world called Shiverburn Galaxy. It's a fire-ice hybrid level, not unlike Banjo-Tooie's Hailfire Peaks, but with one major irregularity.
Oh, these guys!
Are they even guys? What are they? Ghosts? Shadow people? Or do they just live here? They don't move or attack, they're just hanging out up there, staring down at Mario.
He's just standing there. Menacingly!
Look at him, look at him!
They're just so out of place, it's creepy. They even have their own code file. Naturally, lots of fan theories have mutated around the ghosts of Shiverburn Galaxy, but perhaps this mystery is best solved by Super Mario Galaxy 3, huh?
Who are you people?
Eternal Darkness is an M-rated Nintendo-published survival horror that made the other scary things list too. When Alex Roivas gains access to the second floor of her mansion, she can enter the bathroom and examine the tub. It's super scary the first time when you don't expect it, but after that it obviously loses its effect. Regardless, it's a famous little jump scare that I activate every playthrough just cause I love this game.
Hey, mister. This here is the stairway to heaven. You know that, don't you?
Obnoxious little frog.
Some people think the Endless Staircase is a corny attempt at being scary.
What the hell with all of you?
This thing was so damn scary to me when I was a kid. Those narrow, claustrophobic walls and that blood-red carpet, and turning back just to be like, I am 99% sure that I went a lot further than that. Cause when you're a kid, you don't understand things like programming, and that hair-raising music, which I just now learned is an audio illusion called the shepherd's tone, where octaves are overlaid to sound like they continuously get higher, but never really do, just like the stairs themselves. The beloved black sheep of the Mario series introduced many classic enemies, but one that never made a lasting impression is Phanto. This thing scared me so damn much when I was a kid. Phanto is a ghostly theater mask that guards keys, and you have to pick up the key and take it all the way to the locked door. As he chases you, he just wakes up and starts swooping down. The trick is to throw the key so he fucks off and then pick it up only for him to fuck right back. I still find it quite hard and quite freaky, but perhaps he was as much a dream as the rest of SUBCON, for the only traces of him left can be found only in the angry sun. The original Luigi's Mansion was one of Nintendo's moodiest productions. Now at the start of the final chapter, lightning strikes the center column and causes a power outage. With all the light that kept away the ghosts extinguished, the entire mansion is darker and more infested than before. Luigi gets a call from EGAD in the telephone room, and is briefed about a portrait ghost who may hold the key to this dilemma. Also, the lightning casts a shadow of Luigi hanging from a noose. At least that's what it looks like. His only clue about this ghost is that he seems to like mirrors. So every first-time player goes straight here. I remember I did. There's also 3 new money ghosts that only appear during this part, and you can get any of the ones you missed. Eventually, after running past the hordes, Luigi finds Uncle Grimly in the wardrobe room and gets the key to the breaker room.
Oh yeah.
After jumping through the 7 worlds of Dinosaur Land, Mario and Yoshi discover a shipwreck lost at sea. Leftover bullet bills fire outside. Hordes of boos haunt the interior. And at the very end, they find a magic ball with a question mark. And that's when you realize, this is one of the airships from Super Mario 3. I played both games many times before finally coming to this cool-ass revelation, but I remember the moment I had it when I was a kid, and it's one of the reasons I love Nintendo's subtle storytelling through level design that, oh shit, they wrote it in the manual. The final level of DK64 is a horror level, and it's just another reason why I love this game. Fuck the haters. I know it has its problems, I don't care, this game is a part of me. Creepy Castle is a super tall tower with many areas jutting out of it, and the many Kong collectibles spread amongst a variety of Halloween set pieces. There's a moat, a greenhouse, a library, a dungeon, a crypt, a museum, a haunted minecart, and Grant Kirkhope's signature groove shifts between moody dread and quirky Addams Family.
Looks like we've got twins.
Thousand Year Door's 4th chapter may not be as traditionally spooky as the original's 3rd chapter, but I find it far more intriguing and fresh. The Halloween hamlet of Twilight Town is suffering a curse that's turning the residents into pigs. Mario's investigation leads him through the dense and dark woods to the creepy steeple, a mysterious citadel heavily infested with boos. Upon a supposed defeat, the perpetrator steals Mario's identity, literally leaving him a shadow of his former self. He then eavesdrops on a highly intelligent and philosophical murder of crows who expose the name of the bad guy, Dopest.
It's not a name.
Who fights Mario alongside his own partners who fell for the trick. It's a lot to unpack. In Super Paper Mario, Count Bleck is determined to terminate the whole universe into the unfathomable void of nothingness.
Dude, that little kid is hardcore goth. Hardcore goth.
He's the most existential threat Mario has ever faced, and he gets a taste of what his vision would be like in the world of nothing. The world is just a bright, white nothing. It goes on and on until you think, is this a glitch, or am I supposed to solve something, or just keep going right, or until stuff from past levels start appearing like debris. This disturbing music pervades the air. It's like that episode of SpongeBob where Squidward is all Metroid Fusion plays out like a horror game. There's creepy sound design, nasty mechanics, and a third thing I don't want to give away because it's also on the list. But the 4th thing is Nightmare. On the first 2 visits to Sector 5, he's foreshadowed quite literally behind the glass background. Returning a 3rd time on an emergency, Samus finds the glass shattered and hatches destroyed, funneling her down a path that leads into Nightmare's lair.
What the hell?
First of all, what the fuck is this thing? I mean, Ridley is a dragon, Kraid is a monster, even Metroids I get, they're parasitic organisms. But Nightmare? It's this weird biomechanical organism the Galactic Federation built to use as a weapon. It has a creepy armor mask and undulating arms. It can shoot lasers and manipulate gravity with its weird scrotum thing, which diverts Samus's weapons and movement, so she's gotta destroy this giant ball sack to reveal its face. An ugly green mug with a droopy mouth and 6 eyes. The more Samus shoots at it, the more it melts and turns red until she finally destroys the hideous thing. And the minimal music playing during the whole thing makes it even more disturbing. Even the most modest Zelda dungeons can be spooky as fuck, and below the dazzling ancient cistern is a hellish underworld full of poison purple waters, jagged rock formations, and zombie bokoblins. At one point you have to walk down a funneling pool of bones to climb a string, at which point the zombies will rise from the grave and climb after you and you have to shake them off, and it's just and it all fits nicely into the dungeon's Buddhist themes. I could have went with the obvious shadow and forest temples, but here you can do this. Super Paper Mario features a whole Barrows gang of supervillains. One of those is Mimi. She's deceitfully cute and has the power to shapeshift, both traits that go on full display when it's time for her and Mario to face off.
Fancy Moses.
That snappy sound of her neck breaking, those spider legs just unraveling behind her. It's just too much. And it's not just a boss fight, it's like a boss level. The whole thing is one level long. And then there's the fight. One of the first things to haunt people's mind when they think of scary things from Super Mario 64 is the terror of Jolly Roger Bay. Calming music, the promise of sunken treasure, and swimming with Mario in 3D for the first time. It's all fun and games until... Who approved this? The eel has had several names in the Mario games he made an appearance in, but 64 will always be the most memorable and spookiest memory. And you have to get close enough to coax him out. So you complete the mission, and then the next one you're thinking, escalators, escalators, escalators! But then the game is like, eels. Now you have to coax him out of the seawall and get close enough to nab the star from the tip of its tail before drowning. It remains an ordeal, and those low-count polytextures don't help. They make it even creepier, like PS1 graphics in the first Silent Hill. I could make a whole video about how scary this slithery sea snake was, but I won't because Arlo already nailed it. Twilight Princess marries the epic tradition of Ocarina and the spooky darkness of Majora, and the apex of this combo lies in this critical cutscene. After Link clears Hyrule of Twilight and gathers the fused shadow, Zant ambushes them with an eerie history lesson. The Twilight backstory is presented through some very unsettling imagery. A knife-wielding Ilia, 3 Dark Links, and this.
I'm pretty sure it's raining bitches.
In the city of Fourside is a bar, whose storage closet contains the Mani Mani statue, a mysterious sculpture with thematic allusions to the monoliths from A Space Odyssey. And just like the monkeys who graze their fingertips upon its marble lead, Ness and Jeff are spirited away to Moonside. Moonside, the alternative version of Fourside, is like Vegas on acid. The world is neon. Everything is backwards. People speak weirder than they already do in this game. You fight the works of Salvador Dali. Once you find the right order of people to talk to, you fight the Mani Mani statue. They wake up back in the bar, and the statue, a device that created illusions, lies destroyed. There's something about the Mother series and psychedelic drug trips. My first experience with ReDead was in Super Smash Bros. Melee. They'd appear in the Zelda stage of Adventure Mode and latch onto you, and even then I found them creepy as fuck. Years later, I played my first Zelda game, and when I entered the royal family's tomb to learn the Sun Song and saw their slumped posture and leathery decomposing skin and flat empty faces, I was like, oh, hey, it's these guys. And then I was like, oh, hey, it's these guys.
Cause see, every time I think, you're there, haunt my dreams.
Fuck these guys to death. A second death, I mean. That moan, that scream, the way they freeze you so you can't escape them when they latch onto you like some horny zombie. Ugh, this is some hardcore fucked up survival horror shit. And that scene when you exit the Temple of Time as an adult and they're just waiting for you in the ruins of Castletown against that apocalyptic skyline. Let me tell you something, guys. There is only one zombie I want wrapped around me like that.
Let's do it!
While many people consider this one of the scariest things Nintendo has ever done, I personally wasn't scared by the noble purple town, even as a kid. I think I was just too young to understand it was meant to be that scary. But now I do get it though. The ghost-type Pokemon, that cemetery tower, and that haunting melody. It is a solemn, quiet town where people come to visit their departed Pokemon. But the scariest part were the real-life stories of kids in Japan suffering seizures when playing through this part of the game. That's kinda why it makes the list. You saw it coming. A list like this, it cannot miss. For more terrifying than the endless stairs or the eel is of course the mad piano. It's just sitting in Boo's haunted mansion, waiting to be played. And when Mario gets too close, it bursts to life and tries to chomp him down with those huge ivory teeth. And it makes that discordant key slamming sound. And it's like... It's quite a shock that of all the scary piano scenes in games, the scariest is in a Mario game. In the bottom of the well lurks many traps and spooks, but all the ReDeads in Hyrule don't hold a dying ember to dead hand. At first you're like, what the fuck are these things sticking out of the ground? Maybe I'll cut one. And then it grabs you, and as you realize that it's an arm, its owner just emerges from the ground.
What the hell?
What the fuck? Look at this thing.
It's big, scary, and pink!
He's ugly, he's got big teeth with a bigger overbite, he's covered in rusted blood, and he does this weird belly dance as he slowly hobbles towards you. Link has to lure him out by getting grabbed, but quickly escape before he lowers his head to bite so he can be the one to attack. I've played these games so many times, but I absolutely dread this part.
Vanessa.
It's not a Nintendo game, but it is a cute as heck 3D platformer where the last thing you'd expect to see is something scary. Then you get to Contract 2 of SUBCON Forest. When you reach the right area, it materializes from the fog. A huge haunted manor straight out of Halloween Town. You can't go through the front door, so you go around back, sneak through the basement, enter the house, and then...
Vanessa.
I played this game last year when it came out on Switch, and this scared the fucking Jew out of me, man. You gotta go in this room, get the thing in the fridge by when she'll come from the other door, and you'll have to hide under the piano until it leaves. Get the key to go here and go upstairs and sneak through the second floor. I must have hid under this bed for like 15 minutes the first time I played this mission. I was just petrified. Eventually, I was like,
You grow a pair.
and I plowed through to the attic where the most rewarding timepiece in the game was waiting for me. An ex-parasite clone of Samus and her power suit, SAX is the nemesis of Metroid. It's too powerful to fight until the very end, so Samus must avoid being detected by its soulless, creepy eyes. Sometimes it blocks a path by blasting the hatch, sometimes it just walks in and out of a room with no warning but the sharp echo of its footsteps, and sometimes, hell yeah, there's some dope-ass chase sequences. Toward the end, it's found destroying the biosphere of the Metroids, the natural predator of the X. When Samus discovers the Federation is on their way to attempt catching the SAX to weaponize it, she goes rogue. She initiates the station's self-destruct option and sets it on a crash course with SR-388, home planet of the X and the Metroid, but not before that final boss fight. Afterwards, Samus has only 3 minutes to run to her ship, get ambushed by an Omega Metroid, and watch the SAX fall prey to its natural predator. Samus can then finally regain the last of her abilities, slay the Omega, and watch the planet explode as she escapes, a fugitive of the Federation. Skyward Sword's take on the Zelda series' duality mechanic is one of the freakiest things I have ever experienced in any game, let alone a Zelda game. It's an alternate version of the 4 regions, blanketed by a strange, almost liquid atmosphere. Link's objective is to collect the 12 tears of the goddesses spread across the area. He can use these fruits to make beams of light shoot high up from the tears to make them visible from a long distance. With the area's music being rearranged for wind chimes, the whole thing is pretty peaceful at first. Until, if Link goes 90 seconds without picking up a tear, or if he touches water, or if he is detected by these guys, then the shit goes down. The sky turns red, this horrifying 9-inch nail song tears under your skin, and these fuckers awaken. Guardians patrol the place, and if they hit Link once, he has to start the trial all over again. There's these giant lugs and the smaller floating ones. All 4 silent trials are varying degrees of fun, but equally terrifying. Metroid is Nintendo's scariest series. The games are moody and atmospheric, and I could have just said the whole game of Super Metroid is number 3 on the list and you all would have just been like,
Yup.
Metroid Prime is also full of scary things, but the part that always gets to me the most is the Space Pirate Laboratory in Phendrana Drifts. It's a fairly long sequence that takes Samus through labs and halls filled with security turrets, live guards, and strange alien equipment. Jaw-dropping set pieces like the simulation of the star system, and eventually, she finds them. Held in glass tanks not even strong enough to contain them, she can sick them on the pirates and then destroy them when they're dead. And finally, at the end of the whole thing, she acquires the thermal visor, which she'll need to backtrack all the way to the start because the lights go out and the enemies come out. And this part is the scary cherry on the whole friggin' sundae. It's like Nintendo said, let's make a Zelda horror game, and just fucking nailed it. It's hard to pick one single thing that makes Majora's Mask scary. All of it is scary. The whole thing beginning to end, and that fact is represented by nothing better than the moon. Except, I guess, Majora's Mask. Oh shit. Number 2, Majora's Mask. It may look awesome, but it's the direct cause of every terrible fate met with in one of Nintendo's darkest and spookiest games. Being my second favorite game of all time ever in the history of me, I could go on and on about it, but I'll save that for another time. What can I say that I haven't already said in my list of the dopest bosses? Nothing. So I'll just summarize what makes him so scary. For one thing, what the fuck is he? He started off as an alien but became this intangible concept, the incomprehensible extraterrestrial literal embodiment of bad vibes. Whereas every Earthbound enemy appears against a psychedelic backdrop, he is the backdrop. Everything about Giygas is scary. His innocent origins, his appetite for destruction, the very nature of his being, the final battle against him, the disturbing mechanized sound effects, his corruption of Porky, even Itoi's influence for his creation. These are the many reasons why Giygas is the dopest scary Nintendo moment slash character slash existential concept slash thingy. I always knew Nintendo had its spooky moments, but when making this list it hit me just how many they have. All of Eternal Darkness, all of Majora's Mask, most of Twilight Princess, most of Earthbound, lots of Paper Mario, every final boss in the Kirby series, the entirety of the Metroid series, and probably the sequel to Breath of the Wild. So smash that like button, sub to the channel, and let me know in the comments what Nintendo thing scared you the most. Cause I know what mine is.
それは本作の開発体制自体を見直し変更することです。